The next section I will talk about in regards to color is the also under the basic section of the edit here. And it's the vibrance and the saturation. So the saturation is pretty straightforward. It takes all of the colors in the image and makes them stronger or more intense. So if we just slide it all the way up, we go from like very not very intense colors to like super intense. And so you can see that the sky actually looks pretty blue when you do that, but you also can see in the foreground here that the shadows again, they become more blue again, which may or may not be a desirable effect in your image if you want to try to edit those later. Maybe we can do some specific edits to try to fix it. So we're going to try to break the rules a little bit here. Maybe we'll keep the saturation at the highest setting possible and see if we can make that work in this image, even though normally the extremes are not recommendable. The other option here is the vibrance. So the vibrance, instead of affecting all the colors in the image, it only picks the colors that are less dominant. So if you want to increase the colors that are less dominant here, like let's see, probably the reds in the rock here might be less dominant. So we'll see what this actually does. It takes the less dominant colors and increases them. So actually does weird stuff to the sky too. So if we drag it back here, you can see that in the foreground here, it's picking out some colors, especially when you go really extreme with the saturation, you end up with some weird colors. So let's see. Yeah, so basically in this image, blue is the main prominent color, right? So the saturation will affect that and all the other colors, and the vibrance will affect anything that's probably not blue. There's also a little bit of red over here that I didn't really notice as much. Someone's wearing a red jacket up there, and then there's some red paint or something on this building over here, and a few of the places that are not in the shadow. So you can see those really get brought out when you bump up the saturation. So we can bring the saturation up to about here and still have reasonable reds. Let's see. Another thing you can see is the aberrations of some sort that are happening at the edge here, right? So bringing the saturation up really pronounces those. We may be able to remove those later. We may not be able to remove them. So it's probably not the best idea to go to the full extreme with this. And then, right, if we increase the vibrance up to 100%, you can see that it finds some blues and some yellows, and it really brings out those colors. So in this image, right, I think what we could do is we can bring down the vibrance and bring up the saturation. That'll allow us to go more extreme than we normally would be able to. Something like this will probably work. So yeah, this kind of one way that you can edit with the vibrance and saturation, and that's how they work in Lightroom.